But you're the only law and justice representative on trial who has decided to leave Poland.
To be clear, I have been the target of a massive smear campaign run by pro-government media. And right now in Poland, the justice system has nothing to do with justice. The entire law and justice conservative camp are built on liars, slander, and manipulation.
Hello, welcome to another video installment from Brussels Signal. My name is Chris Gattringer. I'm talking to you from Vienna, and I'm very happy to have as our guest today Mr. Marcin Romanowski, straight from Budapest. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I tried to research it before.
It was perfect.
Thank you. I actually asked the artificial intelligence, so to trust in the computer. Well, thanks for being with us today. Your story is, well, sounds quite wild. What has happened to you over the last months, like straight from a spy thriller, perhaps? You are probably the only elected EU politician. You're a member of the Polish Sejm still, if I'm correct. You used to be a deputy minister of justice under the Law and Justice government in Poland from 2019 2023, and now you're in Hungary as basically an asylum seeker. So you are basically the only elected European EU member state official who has received political asylum in another EU member state. So perhaps you could tell us a bit about your story. How did this happen?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. And indeed, the situation, my personal and legal situation is well, specific, to be precise. At least in the modern history of Poland, I am actually the third Polish member of parliament to obtain political asylum in another country, but the last one was in 1930s. So when the communist regime was being installed in Poland. And of course, the situation in Poland is different, of course, than at that time. But in reality, we are facing in the last months. It began in the December 2023 with in some extent, we deal with lawless state, as we described the situation in Poland. So not only me, but I'm among the politicians from the opposition, from the conservative opposition, as a member of Law and Justice Party, previously as a member of the government. My political group was Solidarity Poland, the so-called right wing of the conservative government. After the elections, we joined to Law and Justice, but many politicians from the whole conservative camp face already political persecution, and not it's worth to say that not only the politician from the opposition, but also ordinary people who have nothing to do with politics. So I was last year, for example, illegally detained against international law, and in December last year, I decided to go to Hungary to ask political asylum. Well, in the mission actually to fight against the left liberal political camp in Poland, who acts actually against the interest of Poland, and conduct this political witch hunt, political persecution, and well, I was. There was a decision about my temporary pre-trial detention, the request also to Interpol to issue against me a red notice. Interestingly, some days ago, Interpol made a decision rejecting the request of Polish authority, which is, I think, this decision of Interpol, the best confirmation that these allegations against me are not credible, and in some extent, it de facto proves that the whole case, not only mine but many other people, are just some kind of political witch hunt, and it justifies also this decision of the Hungarian government to grant me political asylum. But the decision itself, based on the analysis that in Poland, the member of opposition, the politicians from the opposition cannot have real access to the justice, the principle, due process of law, and access to the fair trial is, to be honest, very difficult, impossible actually for from somebody from the opposition. We face with illegal takeover of public prosecutor's office, illegal takeover of judiciary, with manipulations of judicial panels. First of all, in Warsaw, where these political cases are decided about regarding the pre-trial detention for politicians. So that's more or less the current situation of mine in Hungary, in Budapest.
Right. What is it that you are accused of? I mean, or how do you answer to the charges as they are presented in the media? Like, we read that you're accused of basically of corruption or of mishandling public funds, but it seems you have a different perspective.
There is no charges of the corruption, so even the Polish prosecutors illegally appointed do not accuse me of corruption or of misappropriation, not for myself. So the charges, there are 19 charges, which, well, I can freely say they are absurd and unfounded. Of course, it's difficult to explain everything in a short conversation, but just shortly, for example, the biggest group of charges, 8 of them are based on the argumentation that I acted outside my competences, and the prosecutors argue that the minister, the minister of justice, gave me these competences by amending an ordinance and not by issuing a new one. Well, I come from the academia. I'm a teacher, and if any student of first year student of law said such absurdity would have failed in the exam. So it shows it's just an example. Another example is that the accusation that I acted in an organized criminal group. It means in the Ministry of Justice. Well, first, it's absurd because there was no crime committed. For example, this 8 aforementioned charges are absurd. But secondly, it's impossible because every accusation regards the so-called official offenses. And according at least to the Polish law, you cannot combine these two categories of crimes. So official offenses and organized criminal group. There is many accusation of this kind, so formal ones. There's several accusations that I allegedly influence the decisions of the committees in competitions. The problem is that, according to the legal regulations, not the committees made the decisions, but myself. So it was my competence. It's impossible to influence myself. As a lawyer, I would say that I feel some kind of outrage at the quality of this accusations. But in Poland we have already the situation, as I said, that prosecutors act politically, judge panels are manipulated, and there is almost no chance of a fair trial in such a case. But on the other hand, you can see, for example, this decision of Interpol, which is credible international organization, shows the truth about these accusations regarding the activity of Polish prosecutors and some Polish judges as well.
Have there been trials against other law and justice government members in parallel to yours? Like, is there a method to this, do you think?
Of course, in my case, there was two former Minister of Justice officials from the Ministry of Justice who were detained for 7 months. Also, a priest, a president of the foundation, which was granted from the Ministry of Justice, building a center for victims of crimes. There is no accusation of real misappropriation. Every project was completed. There are already credible accusation of torture against those people. there's a case pending in the European Court of Human Rights regarding the case of Father Olszewski, the priest. The real goal was just to force them to falsely accuse me or Minister of Justice. So it's this example shows that not only politicians are persecuted, but of course there are many not probably similar, but other cases in which former ministers from the conservative government facing such kind of charges, which are meant actually as political persecution, as kind of witch hunt, related also to the presidential electoral campaign we have already in Poland, for example, against the former Minister of Defense, Mariusz Błaszczak. There are attempts to persecute, opening actually private cases, attempts regarding to the former Prime Minister Jarosław Kaczyński and many others. So I would say there are dozens of politicians, parliamentarians, and other politicians from law and justice, conservative camp, which are facing already the activities of politically engaged prosecutors.
Mm-hmm. But you're the only law and justice representative on trial who has decided to leave Poland. Am I correct? While others have decided, despite the, let's say, lacking procedural rules, etc., have decided to stay in Poland. Do you think you have somehow set the precedent or hurt the reputation of the party by leaving, or what made you leave, and what made the others decide to stay?
Okay, to be clear, I have been the target of a massive smear campaign run by pro-government media, and of course those media and liberal politicians love to say that I fled from justice, but actually to flee from something that thing has to actually exist. And right now in Poland, the justice system is has nothing to do with justice, and my colleagues from Law and Justice and independent media and conservative people understand it, and I think that more and more people are being to see the truth that this attacks on me and also on the entire law and justice conservative camp are built on liars, slander, and manipulation, and people just understand that I choose the most effective way to fight back against this lawlessness we face already in Poland, by exposing it and not by legitimizing it with silence or forced compliance. And I think that this fact of the Interpol's decision and this week there was a decision of Judicial Watch, which is a respected watchdog organization in the United States, the decision to launch a proceeding regarding the prosecution against me is the best proof that my decision was the right one. From here, from Budapest, I can actually do more for Poland than I could from inside a prison cell or just from Poland, and that's exactly what Tusk's people fear most.
Yeah, I imagine. You are now the director of the newly founded Hungarian-Polish Institute for Freedom. Did I remember that correctly? What is your role in that function, and what's the aim of the institute? Maybe you can talk about that a bit.
So the main idea is that Poland is now some kind of testing ground for this brutal persecution and actually destruction of the sovereignty. The left liberal government tried to destroy actually Polish national Christian identity. They accept illegal migration, which is a very important topic in Poland and in the whole Europe. They introduce a policy which corrupt children with this woke gender, transgender ideology, and Poland is only a testing ground because the problems I already mentioned, the threats actually have a global nature. So globalists are trying to impose their agenda through actually liars and persecution, and we see it. We saw it in the United States when Donald Trump. There was attempts to silence Donald Trump. We saw it in France. I mean the decision against Marie Le Pen, or already in Romania, where the Constitutional Tribunal actually cancelled the decision of the nation annulating the first turn of presidential elections, and so on and so on. And especially in Poland, we face these threats with a huge intensivity, and what is the role, what is goal of the institute is just to analyze this threats, this lawlessness happening in Poland, and based on this, we just want to create some kind of early warning mechanisms. Just to show the true face of left liberal environment, establishment, which is already very strong in the central institutions of the European Union, but his real power based on manipulations and what we just want to do is preparing analysis, publish, organize conferences, focusing first of all on specific areas of lawlessness in Poland, on the politics conducted by the left liberal government, because we know that they took the power in Poland only through blackmail. They were imposed by Brussels, by the current left liberal environment governing the European Union, and to protect values on which based our civilization, to protect our nations, the sovereignty, to protect families against woke ideology, and our security confronted with illegal mass migration is just our goal, and this kind of early warning mechanism we just want to conduct, warning another countries, Hungary, but another countries, another nations in Europe, and giving tools to defend, to protect themselves regarding the threats we are facing actually globally.
Mm-hmm. How would you describe public opinion in Poland now after a bit more than 1 year or 1.5 years of the Donald Tusk government? Has popular opinion changed? How has it developed in your view? How do people see the proceedings around former law and justice officials around you? What feedback have you gotten?
Well, as I said, that more and more people realized that the activities, the persecution actually, of the current government based on liars, on manipulations, because well. The intensity of these actions was growing in the recent weeks. And just one example: some weeks ago there was about 70 years old ill lady. She was detained at 6 a.m. And led to the prosecutor's office forcefully because of the critics on Facebook against famous liberal activists. I just wanted to show you that the problem of lawlessness face the problem which we are facing already is not only the problem of politicians but ordinary people, and there are. I speak with many people who for example, do not want to express their support for a conservative candidate in the current presidential elections because, for example, his or her son or daughter works in a public entity, and people are just afraid. So after the illegal takeover of public media, prosecutors' office, judiciary, and so on, and so on, people see that we are facing already with some kind of liberal autocracy, and the government has really a very low ratings. Over 50% of Polish people is the opinion that the government conducts worst politics. And the ratings are even after a year after taking power, 2023 in December, they are worse than law and justice government had after 8 years in power during pandemic, war in the Ukraine, and so on, and so on. And what I previously said, that the Tusk government was imposed by Brussels, and taking power by left liberal government in such a conservative society like Poland is only possible by force or by manipulation, and people realized it already because Tusk during the general elections campaign 2023 promised really golden mountains, but he has kept practically none of these promises, and this famous statement of the liberal Hungarian Prime Minister many years ago, that he lied in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, could be seen as true to the activity of Donald Tusk and his political camp. So I think that we are facing already with some kind of change, and you can see it, for example, in the situation, looking on the situation of media market in Poland, because the first illegal step of the Tusk government was to take illegally, forcefully, in the strict sense of the word, public media, in order to prevent any decent opinion in the media, just to make sure that the whole narrative will be left liberal. But it failed because really very small news channels, independent, conservative are still growing, and one of them, TV Republika, became the biggest news channel in Poland at the after 1 year of Tusk government. So it's a paradox, because the goal was of the government was the opposite, but it shows also that Polish people love freedom of speech, media freedom, and do not accept this kind of liberal autocracy we are facing now in Poland.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying there is things are looking up for the conservative movement in Poland. How do you think your personal story will continue? How long do you expect to have to stay in exile?
Well, in my open letter to the Minister of Justice, I published in December last year, after the decision about my political asylum was public, I made it absolutely clear. I will return in the moment when the fundamental principles of the rule of law will be restored in Poland. So that means legally appointed prosecutors, legally appointed court presidents, because the government changed prosecutors and court presidents regardless the legal regulations and against the judgments of the Constitutional Tribunal. It means no more manipulation of judicial panels, what is happening already in Poland, and it means also that the rulings of the Constitutional Tribunal will be respected, which is not the case now under the Tusk government in Poland, and they will be officially published, because they are not published by the government. And when that happens, I will be on the first plane home. And of course, what is crucial now, the presidential elections, because if the liberal candidate Trzaskowski, protege of George Soros, wins, so the prosecution, the lawlessness will be completed, I would say. But if the conservative candidate Karol Nawrocki wins, so I think that this left liberal coalition will sooner or later collapse, and it will be just a way to restore a rule of law in Poland.
Very good. I think this is a great way to conclude our talk. Mr. Romanowski, thank you very much for the interview, and good
Thank
luck.
you very much for the invitation and for the conversation.